We get ready for racing action from Airborne, and it's heat number 1 for the Flying Tigers. Row number 1, the 05 of Dave Drake, the 48 of Lee Morrison. In row number 2, the 31 of Jim McComb, and the 18 of Brad Duquette.
In row 3 on the inside, the 27 of Al Madden. He joined in the high groove by the 39 of rookie Bill Sawyer. Late scratch, and 90 of Ray Claflin, scheduled to start shotgun. He's going to drop out early.
Now Claflin was spreading some oil on the track, so they're going to take another lap under caution. First heat for the Flying Tigers, Steve. Who do you like?
Well, you got 6 guys here who usually try to get near the front, don't always hang out for a feature, but as far as this short 8-lap heat goes, let's give it to Jim McComb inside row 2.
Steve goes to the 31 car. I'm going to go outside to row number 2 and put my money on Brad Duquette. 6 cars ready to start. Heat number 1 for the Flying Tigers. It's an 8-lap qualifying event. First of 3 scheduled heats for the Flying Tigers.
They'll come down one more time. They'll go through the speedy dry.
They're going to run this speedy dry in the track, Steve, and really excellent racing conditions tonight. Not all that warm out. Nice bright sun and a nice breeze.
Oh, beautiful night for racing. A lot of the guys, when they pulled in the pits, loved looking at the sky, seeing no chance of rain, so expect some great action tonight.
We're going to go green next time by. The 05 of Dave Drake, the 48 of Lee Morrison pace the front row.
Pace car heads it off the racetrack, and we'll get ready to go racing. David Drake and Lee Morrison to set the pace as they go into 3. Here we come off the corner of 4.
Into 3 out of 4, pulse race just a little bit as the drivers find the green of the start-finish line. Dave Drake, a half car like that, the stripe. Lee Morrison of the high groove. Getting stuck there, Jim McComb goes to the inside with a 31 machine to take position 2.
And goes to work on the 18 of Brad Duquette. In they go. Whoa, a little touch, a little spin.
Trouble up in turn 3. 48 of Lee Morrison getting a bit of a scratch on 48 Lee Morrison involved, but not the man responsible. The guy who went for a spin was the 39 of Bill Sawyer. Meanwhile, back up front, Dave Drake from the pole leads him after 1 lap. Jim McComb at his back bumper. Al Mann sits 3rd. The aforementioned Lee Morrison 4th, and a big distance back to the 39 of Sawyer. Car missed. It was the 18 of Brad Duquette. Duquette pitting after only 1 lap.
Well, Steve, so much for my pick in this race.
Look for Brad to get it back together when feature time rolls around. Meanwhile, as they come off of 4, Dave Drake still leading the pack. McComb sitting 2nd, followed by Madden and Morrison as they run nose to tail, single file.
Steve, Dave Drake has struggled the past few weeks, but he seems to have it together tonight, and I don't think they're going to catch that 05 car in this qualifying event.
Well, he's led the first half as they beat the halfway that time by, and change of position number 2 as Al Mann slips under Jim McComb. They have contact. Both straightened out, and Lee Morrison passes McComb for position number 3. You know, that Lee Morrison had definitely been impressive. As a rookie contender, he's really getting the feel of this in a hurry, and he may be a man to contend with, especially next season. Meanwhile, Dave Drake, all his own out front. 3-car battle for second between Madden, Morrison, and the 31 of McComb.
It'll be 2 laps to go this time by. Dave Drake with about a 10-car length advantage on the rest of the field. 2 to go for Drake.
The Drake Racing sponsored 05 of Dave Drake. Looks like he is definitely in line to win the first race of the evening here at Airborne. Al Mann 6th, 2nd. That's the best battle in the Speedway. Madden Morrison for position number 2.
1 lap to go. We'll watch the battle for the 2nd spot.
With a half a lap to go, Dave Drake appears to be home free, but with Al Mann run 2nd, Jim McComb has closed on the 48 of Morrison in the battle for 3rd. When they come out at 4 of the final time, Morris out of the inside, McComb with a high groove, and McComb has no chance now. Dave Drake picks up the win, followed by Al Madden, Lee Morrison, Jim McComb, and then Bill Sawyer.
Well, good race for Dave Drake, as he pretty much went untouched throughout this first qualifying event. Some good battle for positions in the back of the pack. So we'll look for good things from Dave Drake tonight. He'll be advancing into the semi-feature. And as well, he'll have a good starting spot as they get ready to start the main event for the Flying Tigers later on in the program. Dave Drake wins heat number 1. Heat number 2 for the Flying Tigers. On the inside of row number 1, the 66 of Mike Richardson. Starting on the outside from North Wolcott, Vermont, the 1 of Ralph Rockwell. One of last week's feature winners, Ron Klein, starts inside of row number 2 in the 28. And on the outside, the 3 of George White.
Row 3 on the inside, the 12 of Dave Foster. He joined on the right side with the 82 of Rapid Randy Haywood. And starting shotgun on the field, the 80 of Doug Murphy. That's okay, fans. I'm not nuts. Yes, I do realize Randy Haywood driving the 86. Meanwhile, as they find the green out of 4, Rockwell on the high groove. That's the place he likes to run. Well, Richardson has been a top rookie candidate this year, and he powers past the 1 machine. Great battle for third. Klein on the inside, the white 3 of George White right alongside, followed by Foster, Haywood, and Murphy. George White going too wide to try to get the job done. Klein has the inside for the 3rd position. White right alongside the 12 of Dave Foster, looking for some racing room, but nothing doing that time by. Meanwhile, as these cars battle for positions 2 back, the 66 of Mike Richardson is pulled away. Richardson, a good 8 or 9 car lengths that time of the stripe. His nearest competition is one of last week's Tiger feature winners, a 28 of Rock and Ron Klein. Foster moves to 3rd. Rockwell moving back in a hurry now. And George White completes the top 5 with 2 down. Battle for second, not much of a battle as Foster slips to the inside of Ron Klein, but loses traction. Klein forced to go high, will lose the position of Rockwell. And Rapid Ralph Rockwell try to take Foster's spot as well. Halfway by this time, Mike Richardson way out in front now over Foster and Rockwell. And just like we saw in the first qualifier, the pole sitter has gotten the job done.
Steve, it looks as though in the early going here at Airborne, the outside groove is not going to be a place to be if you want to move up spots tonight.
Well, I'll agree with you. I told you Rockwell likes the outside groove, but he paid for it. His passing has all come on the inside, so apparently there is really no high groove to run on yet, so we'll have to wait and see if that changes as the course of the racing goes on this evening. Meanwhile, Richardson, still your race leader. Fence post up this time by with 2 to go. Richardson, about 10 car lengths over the 12 of Foster, and south 10 car lengths over Rockwell, followed by Klein and then George White.
Mike Richardson comes out of turn number 4. He'll take the white flag this time by heat number 2 for the Tigers.
Well, I told you Mike Richardson in that number 66 is a top rookie candidate. I think you can see why. Even though he started on pole, he simply pulled away from this field. Dave Foster in the number 12 machine, the Mopar-powered number 12, has really not been able to reel him in. Out of 4 for the final time, and Mike Richardson will indeed pick up the checker. Dave Foster crosses the line second, followed by Ralph Rockwell, Rock and Ron Klein, and then the 3 of George White.
One thing we've seen the last few weeks from these Flying Tigers, Steve, not a lot of bumping and banging going on. They ran a 20-lap feature last week with no caution flags, and we haven't seen any caution flags tonight. These guys have really done a good job the last few weeks of staying clean and putting on a good show for the fans, and it looks like it's going to continue again tonight. Mike Richardson from Vermont picks up the win in the second Tiger heat. Heat number 3 for the Flying Tigers. Eldred Hutchins on the inside in car 37 and Robin Wood in the 61. They make up row number 1. Row number 2 from Hyde Park, Vermont, the 77 of Eric Williams, and on the outside, the 34 of Randy Yance.
Final 3 positions, the 29 of Labrador, the 14 of Devarney, the 35 of Weston. We have had 10 races this season. 7 of them have been won by the men starting in the final 3 positions. Good start as Robin Wood gets about a half car length than Eldred Hutchins, but it disappears in a hurry through the turns. Wood, again, half a car length, trying to stretch it out. Eric Williams with a 77 down low. They stack them 3 wide, and Eric wisely backs off that time. Robin Wood gets the lead this time. Eldred Hutchins battling hard for second. Eric Williams is hounding him on the low groove. Randy Yance is shoved in the high side, and then comes the Labrador, Devarney, and Weston machines.
Good 6-car battle toward the back of the pack. Any one of these cars, Steve, can work their way up through and win this heat.
This is exciting, fans. And now Eric Williams gets to the inside, and when Eric Williams finds racing room, fans, positions close in a hurry. He is followed by Labrador. He is followed by Weston. And Chet Devarney Jr. is stuck way wide, and that is not where he wants to be tonight. As they come out of 4, I have a strange feeling that Robin Wood's lead will evaporate in a hurry, as Eric Williams has nothing between him and the leader but space.
It'll be halfway this time by Robin Wood with a 10-car length advantage, but will he hold on to it with Williams charging hard?
Contact as the cars go into 1, everybody straightens it out a bit. Eric Williams desperately trying to close the gap between himself and race leader Robin Wood. I said that lead would evaporate. It's not closing as quick as I thought. That 61 machine is definitely hooked up tonight. Meanwhile, the battle for third between 2 of the big favorites, Labrador with a 29 and Weston with a 35.
2 laps to go this time by. Steve, that lead has been cut in half as Wood has got Williams.
The distance has shrunk, and so has the laps. With only 2 to go, will Eric Williams first have a chance to catch the 61, and more importantly, will he be able to get by Robin? We're going to find out in a lap and a half. As they come out of 4, Eric Williams is on the back bumper of leader Robin Wood. Williams swings to the high side, looking to get by the leader to take the top spot. Nobody else in contention. This is a 2-car battle between Wood and Williams. They come out of 4 to the race for the stripe. Robin Wood has position and will hang out. Robin Wood by a car length over the 77 of Williams. Mark Labrador will be 3rd, Ron Weston 4th, and Chet Devarney Jr. rounds out the top 5. That was exciting.
Steve, another good finish in the Flying Tigers, and again, they run a race with no caution flags. So the Tigers have got it together again tonight. Robin Wood, you talked to him earlier on tonight in the interview segment. He picks up a win, so usually, Steve, when you talk to people, something usually happens to him, and it's usually negative, so maybe it's changing tonight. Robin Wood, the victor in heat number 3 for the Tigers. First heat of the evening for the late model Sportsman. Row number 1 on the inside, the 96 of Fred Lagoy. On the outside, the 17 of Lonnie Lacalade. In row number 2, the 42 of Tony Poissant, and on the outside, the 33 of Matt Sear.
Row 3 on the inside, the 42 of Tony Poissant, followed by the 08 of Steve Miski Mitten. Next row is Timpa Tinka to the low groove. On the high side, apparently it's a 34 Dennis Alderman, and the rest of them as they come storming to the green. Lonnie Lacalade gets a nice early jump of the 96 machine. Lonnie Lacalade has been improving week after week. It's just a matter of having everything hang together for that young driver. Lacalade leads the charge. The 33 of Matt Sear runs second, but he goes a bit wide. Tony Poissant is up to 3rd. Miski Mitten slides into 4th. Timpa Tinka letting it dirt style on the high groove to get past Lagoy for 5th. Then Barry Schwartz, Bill Herring, Dennis Alderman in trouble already. So 64, Robin Branham is out of it. Meanwhile, in turn 3, smoke screen set up by Fred Lagoy, the pole sitter. Fred Lagoy hand grenades the engine on the 96 machine.
Well, we continue to take a look. We'll feature
Getting set to go back under green flag conditions. Lonnie Lackley, Matt Sear in the top row. Tony Poissot and Steve Min in row 2. Tim Patinka, Barry Schwartz comprise row 3. And then the 4th and final row, the 6th of rookie Bill Barcombe, and on the outside, the 34 of rookie Dennis Alderman. Matt Sear gets the jump from the outside pole, and Matt Sear's gonna try to make this one work. The inside, as we commented in the Tiger Heats, is the better line, however, but Matt Sear trying to cut off the Lackley machine and does so. Can he hold the position now? He slips up wide. Drop ball as Bill Barcombe puts it on 2 wheels and brings it back. He goes right over the 52 machine of Barry Schwartz. Barcombe lucky to keep it on all 4. Yellow flag out once again. We'll try to line him up and do it again.
one more time. Lonnie Lackley, number 17.
Let's try one more time, race fans. Once again, the 17 of Lonnie Lackley and the 33 of Matt Sear will be the 2 gentlemen that sent them on their way. 8 cars remaining, 2 laps down, so plenty of action left for this qualifier. The green flag is indeed unfurled. And once again, Matt Sear gets the early jump of the 17 machine of Lackley. But Lackley powers back on the inside. Intergroup definitely is superior early on here tonight. Matt Sear relegated back to 2nd. Tony Poissot sits 3rd. Tim Patinka right behind him in 4th. Keep in mind, these guys set to go 100 laps a little bit later on this afternoon or this evening. And if you like the sounds of that, Airborne will host 2 100-lap late model Sportsman races, one tonight. The second will be on September 5th, so circle that date on your calendar. Back up front, Lackley still leading the Matt Sear machine. Meanwhile, Tony Poissot and Tim Patinka, a nice little battle for 3rd between themselves. Halfway this time by, can Lackley hang on? That is the question. Matt Sear all over his back bumper. Meanwhile, Tim Patinka going to the high group of Tony Poissot, the battle for 3rd. Two separate individual 2-car battles up in turn 4 right now. Tim Patinka really on the back bumper of the 42 of Poissot, desperately trying to get that 3rd position, but apparently Tim really realizes the outside groove is not where to go, and he's trying to set up for a move to the inside, but Tony will have nothing to do with that.
Lonnie Lackley doing a real good job, Steve, keeping that number 17 car on the bottom of the racetrack. No door for Matt Sear to go by.
I've said it over the last couple of weeks, Lackley has improved drastically. His problem generally stems when the feature rolls around. He can't hang on and hold it together for the entire distance, but with a short distance in this qualifier, Lonnie Lackley is doing very well for himself in that 17 machine. As a matter of fact, he's pulled away from the 33 machine. Tony Poissot still 3rd. Tim Patinka once again all over the back bumper of the 42 machine. As a matter of fact, Poissot and Patinka are quickly closing in on the 33 sphere.
1 lap to go this time by Lonnie Lackley from Huntington, Vermont, looking for the checker.
Second, the best battle on the speedway. Matt Sear 2nd. Here comes Patinka with a last charge. His last set of turns. He's going to go to the inside, but he's not going to have a chance. Lackley to win it. Matt Sear 2nd. Tony Poissot 3rd. Tim Patinka having to settle for 4th. And Barry Schwartz makes his way back up to finish 5th.
Officially, heat number 1 will finish up this way.
Good run for Lonnie Lackalade. He goes from go to whoa and picks up the checkered flag. Heat number 2 for the late model Sportsman being formed on pit road, and that's coming up. Lonnie Lackalade pulls into victory lane, picks up the checkered flag in this first heat for the late models.
Number 33, Matt Steer, and about to take the checkered flag for his.
We get ready to go with heat number 2 for the late model Sportsman. Peter Fecto on the inside of row 1, Joe Thomas on the outside. Row number 2, the 57 of Jim Barton and the 31 of Lance Furno.
In row 3 on the inside, the 13 of Richard Bootsy. He's joined on the high groove by the 49 of Mark Lamphere. Row 4, the 92 of Chris Durkee with the 86 of Dennis Demers. Final row comprised of the 63 of Bucko Branham. Shotgun to the 46 of Doug Hoare. Defecto, Joe Thomas sent them on their way. Defecto uses the pole position to get the early lead. Jimmy Barton with a 57 following him through. Barton trying to get up on Thomas, nothing doing that time, but now he gets position as Joe Thomas and Lance Furno come together to slow him up a bit. Thomas ducks in front of the Bootsy machine to get to that very preferred low groove tonight. It is Fecto, Barton, Thomas, Furno, and Bootsy, your top 5. Apparently, these guys know the inside groove is a place to be. None of them trying to venture too high. Unfortunately for the 75 of Fecto, Jim Barton snuck under him. That will force Fecto high. Barton takes the lead. Thomas trying to tuck the back bumper of the 57 machine to follow him through. And Pete Fecto's in no man's land. Barton gets a lead. Thomas up to second. Pete Fecto desperately trying to get back by both those guys. Now he'll lose third to Bootsy as it comes to the strike. Pete Fecto's problem, a common one. He has no chance of getting to the inside groove without losing track position. Behind that battle for 5th, well, behind that battle is the spun 63 of Bucko Branham. Branham going to the high groove, lost it up in turn 4. 3 players, no caution. Meanwhile, up front, Joe Thomas says, I'll try that high groove. He ducks to the outside of Barton. No one behind him to take his second position. So he says, not that bad an idea since no one can tuck behind the leader. And man, Joe Thomas makes it work. Thomas actually got the lead at the stripe, but Barton powers back by on the inside. Thomas, though, does not give up, said if it works once, it should work again. They come out of 4 heading right at you, and Joe Thomas is really hooked up to the second groove now. Joe Thomas, the first car to really look like he can handle the outside groove. Thomas had the chance to duck behind the leader, but said no way, he wants to hang up out there. Drop ball, 46 of Doug Hoare loses the right rear tire. Tire flies way off the track. Doug Hoare is avoided by everybody. Meanwhile, back up front, Barton and Thomas now see the caution for the backstretch flagman. That could have been potentially a very serious incident. Doug Hoare lost the tire, but everybody avoids everything. The Doug Hoare machine removed from the speedway. A lot of work to be done on that car. Getting ready to go back under green flag action with 7 down. The top 5, Thomas and Barton in the front row, followed by Bootsy, Furno, and Fecto. Joe Thomas with the early lead on the restart. Jim Barton settling into second. Good battle for third now. 3 wide. Fecto looks inside of Bootsy. But Fecto and Bootsy are not the main concern. It's the 31 of Lance Furno going way high to make it work for the 3rd spot. Furno, like Thomas, using the high groove, making it work. That groove maybe starting to come around.
Joe Thomas trying to pick up his first checkered flag in a while, Steve.
Yeah, it's been a little while since Joe found his way to a checkered. But in a half a lap, or I should say half a mile, looks like he'll be able to do it as Barton is not really challenging very strong right now. We are on the final lap, and Joe Thomas with one set of turns to negotiate. As they come out of fourth, Joe Thomas will indeed pick up the checker. Jimmy Martin second, Lance Burnell third. Dennis Demers up for fourth in a hurry over the 13 of Boots, who had to settle for fifth.
Joe Thomas picks up the win in heat number 2 for the late model Sportsman. Thomas started on the outside, and Steve really made it work throughout the qualifying event. Thomas pulls into victory lane to take his victory lap. The third and final qualifying heat for the late model Sportsman is coming up next. Danny Bridges will start on the inside of row number 1 in this final qualifying heat for the late model Sportsman. On the outside, from Groton, Vermont, the 68 of Jim Silly. In row number 2, it's the 1 of Red Mead, and starting on the outside of row number 2, the 0 of Brent Dragon. Row number 3, the 76 of Steve Renadette, and the 32 of Jean-Paul Cyr.
Row 4, the 20 of Tony the Tiger Andrews. On the outside, the guy to watch later, the 45 of Brian Hoare. Steve Miller, Dwayne Lamphere line up side by side for the 5th row. Shotgun belongs to the 77. No fans, not the Kentucky Colonel Tom Teller will run in the guy who normally pilots the blue and white 25, Dave Wickham. Wickham driver the 77 this evening. Up front, Danny Bridges, who has been on a tear the last couple of weeks, gets the lead early. Brad Dragon dives low to take second from Silly, sets his sights on leader Bridges. Jim Silly is nowhere even close to trying to find his way to the low groove. It is Bridges, Dragon, then Steve Renadette who's worked his way to third. Right now, Tony Andrews under Silly in the battle for fourth. Flag on the speedway. Flag for the 68 of Jim Silly. Don't know if you can see it in the picture, but Silly leaking when apparently was gasoline on the track. Very smart idea to get him in the pits.
Well, Steve, if you were here with us, you could smell the gas, and it was really pouring out of that 68 car.
Yeah, it's just as Rick mentioned it. I got it with him, and it is definitely gasoline that Jim Silly was dumping. Once again, Bridges leading Dragon and Renadette. More on the Dave Wickham situation. Wickham normally pilots the number 25. A couple of nights ago at Thunder Road, rolled it end over end. His car nowhere near race ready. So he talked to Tom Teller and borrowed the Kentucky Colonel's car for the 100-lapper tonight. Well, Bridges has gotten about an 8 or 9 car length lead over Brent Dragon, but Brent Dragon has a mirror full of Steve Renadette right now. And another Steve Miller's worked his way into fourth. Miller, with 2 consecutive feature wins, wants to make it 3 in a row in the big 100-lapper a little later tonight. Miller sets his sights on Steve Renadette in the battle for third, but Miller, well, now he makes a move. I was about ready to say he lost some track position, made it up in a hurry. Miller letting it slide to turn 4. And Steve Miller using that outside groove and making it work, but now Renadette takes a position back. Great battle for third. Forget about Danny Bridges. He's pulled away for this 3-car battle for second. Brent Dragon in the 0 on the inside, the 76 of Renadette on the high groove, the double 0 of Steve Miller, and Miller is letting it all hang out on a 4 with 1 lap to go. Keep your eye on the battle for second. Miller had taken third from Renadette, staying on the outside to try to take second from Dragon, and he may just do it. As they come out of 4, we can tell you Dan Bridges the easy winner, but here's the battle at the stripe. Give it to Brent Dragon for second. Miller having to settle for third, Renadette at fourth, and Tony Andrews rounds out the 5.
Steve, it was just a couple of weeks ago that Danny Bridges picked up a win at Thunder Road, some 21 years after he won the Milk Bowl. Ran real well last week, almost picked up the win, but the last couple laps, Steve Miller came on. It appears as though Bridges again has it hooked up tonight as he picks up the win in the third and final qualifier for the late model Sportsman here at Airborne.
Getting set to go for the first Napa Legend Street Stock qualifier of the evening. Starting out the pole, the 55 of Bob Bailey on the high side, the 69 of Ed Drake. Row 2, a couple of guys to keep your eyes on. The 23 of Chris Ida, and last week's feature winner, the 49 of Mike Boucher. Robert Haynes, Charles McNulty in row 3. Ken Williams inside row 4 in a brand new automobile, the 71. Have no idea who the driver is yet, but we'll try to get that before feature time rolls around. Ed Drake gets the early lead. Last week's feature winner, Boucher, right on his bumper with a yellow 49. Chris Ida's moved to third. Pole setter Bailey's already in fourth after half a lap. Billy not having the best of starts here, but trying to work his way back on Ida to take third position back. Meanwhile, up front, Chris Ida ducks low with a 23, takes second, looking for the lead. Drake gives him room. Ida takes the lead. Drake back to second, Boucher third, Haynes fourth, Bailey fifth, Williams sixth. Whoa, Chris Ida's your leader, but he is loose. Hangs on, stays the lead, but lost the track position and almost collected a couple of cars in doing so. Dave Drake looks to the inside of Ida, nothing doing. All that's happening there for Mr. Drake is he lost second to Boucher.
After the 23 of Chris Ida. From turn 3 and 4, here they come.
Well, I said keep your eyes on Chris Ida and Mike Boucher. They have worked their way into 1 and 2 right now. Ida has looked strong in the past. Boucher, well, he came off a feature win last week, so he definitely knows his way around the track. This time by, well, trouble up there as Chris Ida gets loose once again, and Boucher, the recipient, as he takes the lead with 2 to go. Boucher, your new leader. Ida back to second. Drake runs third. Haynes in fourth, and Bailey rounds out the top 5. One to go for Boucher, and looks like he's pretty much home free as he has a nice, comfortable lead over former leader Chris Ida.
Here they come. Our big rider has the checkers in hand.
Checker flag honors fly this time by for the 49 of Boucher. Pick it up where he left off. Chris Ida runs second. Ed Drake finishes third. Robert Haynes will be fourth, and Bob Bailey settling for the 5th spot.
Officially looking like this in 5th spot, number 55, Bob Bailey.
Getting set to go with the second and final Napa Legends Street Stock qualifier of the evening. On the pole, well, if he's going to start on the pole, he's probably going to walk away with it. The 82 of Toby Ebersol. Alongside, outside row number 1, the 63 of John Moran. In row 2, the 95 of Paul Schnabler, the 17 of Joe Rotella. Tyson Drown and Greg Pay make up row 3. Dave Rotella, Dan Benoit in row 4, and all alone in row 5, the 01 of Rob Clark Jr. 6 laps set to come at you, and Toby Ebersol, well, they're going to have to throw the caution, and they do. Ebersol had a very large lead for their start of a race, and threw the caution. They're going to have to line them up again. Obviously, a few of these guys don't realize that they're battling for positions. They're going to have to take another lap to line them up because they're way out of shape right now. Once again, it will be Toby Ebersol and Don Moran making up the front row. The problem there is the Becky Diner sponsor 82. Toby Ebersol got a little too big of a lead.
And that's what they'll try to do. Get them side by side.
Up until last week, the man in the 91, Greg Pay, was your points leader, but now Dave Rotella with a 53, who's also in this heat, has taken over the points after last week.
Steve, in this division, is it possible to have a too big a lead?
I never thought so, but since that was the start of the race, I guess it's only fair they try to make it a little closer when they come to the stripe. We're going to try it again. This time they'll let him go, still about the same length of a lead. Paul Schnabel was already past Don Moran when they came to the stripe to officially start the race. A big name already out of it, the 0-1 of Rob Clark Jr. You can't see him in your shot because he is, I'm not even sure if his engine's running. He is desperately trying to head to the pits, and I don't know if he'll make it. Meanwhile, Joe Rotella doing some field grooming on the high groove in turn 4. Gets it back together. Now you see the 0-1 of Clark just making his way into the pits. Meanwhile, up front, Toby Ebersol, your leader. And hey, what about Paul Schnabel with a 95? He is not letting Ebersol get away. Tyson Drown runs third, your new points leader. Dave Rotella rounds fourth, and then Moran and Benoit battling for the fifth spot. I guess I was mistaken when I said Ebersol will run away with this. Take a look up in 3. Paul Schnabel is right alongside of him. Paul Schnabel may lose second very soon. He kind of went awful high that turn. He will lose second. Tyson Drown takes a position. Dave Rotella trying to follow the 6 machine through on the inside. He will do so to take third. Contact between Benoit and Paye. They get it back square. Now Schnabel gets loose. That forces Benoit to the infield. He comes back out and once again tags Paye. Don Moran misses him. And a mini demolition derby has ensued, but they all get it straightened out. It is difficult sometimes with these street stocks to get the cars straightened out, and give these guys credit. They do a masterful job, believe me. 1 lap to go, and Toby Ebersol may not win this. I don't care if he has led every lap. Tyson Drown and Dave Rotella have reeled him in. Tyson Drown bumper banging the leader of the 82. Drown looking to make an opening for himself, but did not do so. Ebersol will hang on for the win. Drown finishes second. Dave Rotella third. Paul Schnabel back to fourth. And Dan Benoit rounds out the top 5 in the second and final NABA Legends Street Stock Qualifier. Flying Tiger semi-feature on the Speedway. Dave Drake sits on the inside. Lee Morrison to his right side. Jim McComb, Al Mann make up row 2. Mike Richardson and Ralph Rockwell in row 3. Ron Klein, Dave Foster in row 4. Robin Wood, Eric Williams in the second to last row. And then last row, guys to watch, Mark Lamberton and Ron Weston. Dave Drake in the 05, picking up where he left off. He won his qualifier. He is one of the 3 eligible to try to make a run for the Triple Crown tonight. Morrison sits second, Madden third, but on the high side is the 1 of Rockwell. Nothing new there. Rockwell loves riding high. As the cars all battle behind him, Dave Drake increases his lead ever so little. Lee Morrison runs second, but he has got a traffic jam behind him. Madden backs off. Richardson gets to the inside of 27 machine. Meanwhile, the number 1 of Rob Rockwell really hanging it high. The guy who started shotgun, the 35 of Weston, already up to 6th, about to make it 5th, possibly, yeah, they'll make it 4th. Weston is the man on the move. Drake leads. Richardson gets to the inside of Rockwell for second. Weston trying to find the 66 and follow him through. Ron Weston disposed of Rockwell, tries to get to the inside of Richardson. Does so. Hey, I got news for you fans. Weston is back. He got shut out of last week's double features, but he is about ready to prove something. Ron Weston is charged from the back to the front in 4 laps. Halfway this time by, 5 down, 5 to go, and Weston already pulled away from the rest of the field. Mike Richardson disposes of Dave Drake for second, but Drake not quite ready to give it up, but has to now. Meanwhile, Rockwell runs fourth. Ron Klein has slipped into fifth with Dave Foster on his right side. Man, oh man, when Weston got the lead, he is running away and hiding from this field. That could be a telltale sign of things to come later on. The car's now starting to go 3 and occasionally even trying 4 wide. The Tigers are the guys who do that better than anybody here on Saturday nights, and that's a sure sign that maybe the outside groove is coming around. Meanwhile, in the battle for third, Drake on the inside, but Rockin' Ron is making it work on the high groove. About ready to take third from Drake. Eric Williams also trying to find a way through. And that 12 of Foster is still pestering the Klein machine, and he is right on Klein's back bumper. 2 to go this time by. Klein has third. Williams to the inside of Drake, makes contact, but they back off nicely. Your top 2 have run away and had Weston and Richardson. Klein is now third. Foster up to fourth. They will all see the white flag this time by. Man, you didn't see it, and you're lucky you didn't. Dave Foster almost looped in front of most of its competitors. Somehow they made it work. You're about ready to see Ron Weston win the semi-feature. Richardson will not be able to catch him. Weston finds the checker. Richardson second. Ron Klein clearly in third, but here comes the question spot. Williams fourth, Drake fifth, and Foster sixth.
Pretty impressive performance, Steve, by Ron Weston in that 35 car. In just 4 laps, he went from worst to first, and look for strong things from Weston in the upcoming Flying Tiger feature.
Well, he got shut out of both of the Flying Tiger features last week, and it kind of surprised him that he couldn't win at least one of them, but I think he's about ready to make amends. Look for that car to be the strong car when feature time rolls around later.
Semi-feature for the late model Sportsman, Lonnie Lackalade and Tony Poisson in row number 1. Row number 2, Matt Sear in the 33, Tim Patinka in the 83. The third row, the 66 of Joe Thomas and the 57 of Jim Barton. Lance Furno and Dennis Demers make up row number 4. Steve Renadette and Brent Dragon, Danny Bridges and Steve Miller round out the field. Here's Steve.
This could get interesting. Lonnie Lackalade won his qualifier from the pole. Can he hold off this stronger field in the semi? The answer apparently is no right at the start of the race. Tony Poisson gets the jump on him. Poisson gets the jump of the 17 machine, but Lackalade fights back. Lonnie not about ready to give it up yet. Well, he's going to have to now with Poisson clearly in front when they get into turn 3. Unfortunate retiree already, the 9 and 10 Bridges already in the pits in this semi-feature. Meanwhile up front, Poisson leads Lackalade, followed by Patinka, Matt Sear, and Jim Barton. Lackalade trying to find a way to get back by Poisson to take the top spot.
That 42 car having a tendency to drift high. That opens the door for the inside of Lackalade.
I said Lonnie Lackalade's been improving week in and week out. There's a prime example. New Poisson with drifting high, set up the car in this turn and got to the inside. Problem is, can he hold it and pass the 42? Apparently so as they come out of 4. This time, Lackalade and Poisson side by side in the straight. But the guy looking for both those guys to make a mistake at Tim Patinka. Patinka inherited third last week and trying to win one on his own here. Patinka gets by the 42, looks high in the 17, thinks better of it. Four down, 8 to go. Lonnie Lackalade, once again your leader. Tim Patinka, the man challenging him now. Tony Poisson runs third. Jimmy Barton and Brent Dragon in the battle for 4th and 5th. Other drivers in this field who have not cracked the top 5, Thomas, Miller, Brennan, Furno, Matt Sear, and Demers. Now Tim Patinka has looked high 2 or 3 times, has not made it work yet. Once again, tries it in 3. Once again, does not work, and this time they'll all see the cross flags. Half down, half to go. Boy, Boy, Lonnie Lacklade has really shown me something tonight. He is hanging on. He has taken some good challenges and hung on. He has passed the leader to get the lead back. He's done just about everything except one feature, maybe tonight. If Lacklade does hang on, he will be in line to win the Triple Crown, and what an honor that would be for that young rookie. Lonnie this time, a couple of Carlings on the Matinka machine, followed by points on Barton in a traffic jam now with Brent Dragon, Joe Thomas, Steve Miller, and the rest. Top drivers unable to make their way in the top three so far. Kind of surprising. Two to go this time by, 2 to go. And I hope I'm not placing a jinx on anybody, but cautions have not been coming out tonight. Some great driving in all three divisions. Steve Miller has cracked the top 5, working on Dragon for 4th, but this is way too late for the Miller machine. With 1 lap to go, Miller now battling Tony Poinsoff for 3rd, but no way can he catch a leader, Lonnie Lacklade. If Miller had started this about 4 or 5 laps ago, I'd say he'd have a chance, but as you can see, they come out of 4 heading at you. Lonnie Lacklade wins it. Tim Matinka 2nd, Steve Miller 3rd, Tony Poinsoff 4th, and Brent Dragon 5th, and Lonnie Lacklade will be trying for the Triple Crown a little bit later.
Steve, as you said throughout your call of the race, what a good performance for this youngster. He started out slow, but has really shown signs these last few weeks that he's going to be a driver to contend with as the final weeks run down here at Airborne, and I would not be surprised to see this young driver from Huntington, Vermont pick up a checkered flag in a main event before the end of this season.
Finishing in second, number 83, Plattsburgh, J&J discount rookie.
We get ready for the main event for the Flying Tigers, rather. Every once in a while we confuse our divisions here. Dave Drake will start on the inside of row number 1 in the 05, and on the outside the 48 of Lee Morrison. Row number 2, the 31 of Jim McComb, and on the outside the 18 of Brad Duquette.
And row 3 on the inside, the 27 of Al Madden, and on the high side, the 39 of Bill Sawyer. Row 4 to the inside, the 66 of Mike Richardson. He joined alongside by the 1 of Rapid Ralph Rockwell.
Row number 5 on the inside, George White. On the outside, the 12 of Dave Foster. In the 6th row, it's Lewis, New York's Eldred Hutchins, and Robin Wood in the 61.
Row number 7 on the inside, the 77 of Eric Williams. And on the high side, the 34 of Randy Yance. Next row back, keep your eyes on these two. The 29 of Mark Labrador and the 14 of Chet DeVarney Jr.
Ron Weston in the 35, Ron Klein in the 28, the 86 of Randy Haywood, the 90 of Ray Claflin, and the 80 of Doug Murphy make up this field. Steve, it's pick'em time. Who do you like?
How can you not pick Weston after the semi-feature? From worst to first in 4 laps, Weston to win it.
Guy's been hot tonight. I'm going to pick Mike Richardson to win it all. Now to call the race, 20 laps for the Flying Tigers. Here's Steve Hayes.
Well, just because we picked Weston and Richardson, that discounts a lot of top drivers like DeVarney, Lamberton, Klein, and a lot of other tops, including Eric Williams. But anyway, they come out of 421 engines up to par, and green flag is unfurled. Dave Drake, for the 3rd time tonight, starts at the pole and takes the early lead. Contact behind him, but everybody straightens out. That's become commonplace for these Tigers. They may touch, but they don't crash. 4 wide in 3. Hang on, fans. Everybody comes out of it heading the right way. Ralph Rockwell, the big loser in the deal. The middle of the pack, there's 3 or 4 groups of 3 wide. 39 of Bill Sawyer laid on a smoke screen. And again, everybody gets it back together. Trouble this side, Sawyer and Rockwell come together. They take the Varney with them up there. Everybody refires, no caution on the speedway. No caution, but that's going to hurt Judd DeVarney Jr. chances unless the caution comes out quickly. Meanwhile, up front, Dave Drake, followed by Brad Duquette and Dave Foster. Behind them, an unbelievable potpourri of drivers. I'm not even going to call them positions, man, because they're changing that quickly. Right now, Madden has fourth, but Richardson hounding him on the outside. Also involved, Morrison, Wood, White, Hutchins. There's so many drivers, fans. This is clearly the best action of the night. And Dave Drake is starting to put some distance between himself and the rest of the field. As everybody tangles up trying to gain positions, Dave Drake is quietly slipping away from him. Change up for position 2 with Dave Foster. Goes to the high side of Brad Duquette to take number 2 position. Now Foster will be setting his sights on Drake. No, he's to set his sights on Drake, but he catches him in a hurry already at his back bumper. Also moving up quickly, Lamberton and Weston. They run about 5th and 7th right now. And up front, Foster on the outside of Drake. They touch, they get it back together. Richardson running 3rd, catches him. This is something, this is unbelievable, man. Best accident of the night, but then again, the Tigers many a week put on the best show of the night. With Foster running away, Mike Richardson disposes of Dave Drake for the 2nd position. Lamberton and Weston getting involved in the 4th and 5th spots now. Oh, this is great. This is what you pay to see, fans. Let's set the players once again. Dave Foster, 8 car lengths on Richardson. 6 car lengths over Mark Lamberton. Then Dave Drake, but not for long, as Weston gets by him now in the front stretch. Then Drake, then Wood, followed by Hutchins, Duquette, and Eric Williams. Another car moving up through the pack, moving up to 5th, the 61 of Robin Wood. Robin Wood has been dialed in tonight. He is starting to show something. Dave Foster, still your race leader. Mike Richardson runs 2nd. They are followed by Mark Lamberton and Ron Weston running 3rd and 4th nose to tail. Robin Wood still runs 5th. Halfway this time by. In the battle for 3rd, Ron Weston all over the back bumper of Mark Lamberton's number 29. Weston has caught the 29, but he hasn't passed them, fans. This is Dave Foster. That's the lead he has over Mike Richardson. Mike Richardson has not been able to dial in the 12 car yet. The Mopar Power 12 of Dave Foster is definitely getting the job done. This time will be 12 in the record books. Foster has 8 more laps to go. Richardson closes the gap a little bit. Meanwhile, Lamberton and Weston waging a battle of their own for the position 3. Eric Williams has slipped by Robin Wood to take the 5th spot. Program, I told you Mike Richardson is a leading rookie candidate. I think you see why, fans. Meanwhile, back to action for the 3rd spot. Weston looks inside of Lamberton, but again, Mark shuts the door on the 35. Ron Weston charged through in the semi-feature, but he is not having that same type of run here in the main event. Again, to the outside of the 29. Gets a good run this time in 3. Looks like he clearly has position, but never count Lamberton now. Very close to the stripe, but Weston did have position, but Lamberton has the line. It will be a matter of which driver can get the best out of their car, and Lamberton is taking the position back, but Weston once again hangs it high, and Eric Williams has caught him in the 77 machine. Foster and Richardson still run 1-2 fans, but the battle you're looking at between Weston, Lamberton, and now Eric Williams, this could be something the final 4 laps. Trouble on the front stretch. Dave Drake, Ron Klein have come together. You'll see the smoke now, and they are hooked right up. Caution will be forced to come out. Yellow flag on the speedway. The trouble is because Ron Klein and Dave Drake have hooked bumpers, and that's going to be a restart, fans. And this will be interesting. Your top 5 should be something like this. David Foster with Mike Richardson, Ron Weston, Mark Lamberton, and Eric Williams. Getting ready to go back on a green flag. 16 in the record books, 4 to go. Let's set the top 10 real quick. Dave Foster, Mike Richardson in row 1. Ron Weston and Mark Lamberton in row 2. Eric Williams, Robin Wood, Eldred Hutchins, Randy Yance, Al Mann, and Randy Haywood round out the top 10 with 4 to go. Hang on, fans, this could get exciting. Dave Foster probably had a win in the bag until that caution came out. Now he has Richardson, Weston, Lamberton, and the rest of the crew right on his bumper. Foster gets the lead. Weston slips into second trouble. Williams and Lamberton come together. Mark Lamberton goes spinning with a 29. Lamberton tried to take a position, went to the inside groove and got tapped by Williams. That sent him spinning in straight. No caution on the speedway. You can see Mark Lamberton is not moving the 29 at all, but no caution as the leaders are about to pass him. 2 to go. The flagman has a white and a checker for 2 to go. There is no caution. Foster, followed by Weston and Richardson. Lamberton finally gets out of turn 3, but any chance of winning is surely gone now. Ron Weston will have 1 more lap to try to get Dave Foster. Well, really, Dave Foster deserves this win. Dave Foster's ran a great race. Had it not been for a caution, I'm sure he would have won. Foster will have the low groove. Weston will be high. Brad Duquette is a lap car, but I do not believe they will catch him. No, they will not. Here they come out of 4. Weston lets it hang high and will get him by a mere 2 or 3 feet. Ron Weston picks up feature win number 7, and Dave Foster is saying, what happened? It is Weston, Foster, Richardson, Williams, and Eldred Hutchins with a fine run for 5th. Didn't mention Eldred much, but he finishes 5th. What a great run, Rick, as Ron Weston only led 1 lap, but it was the most important.
Well, it wasn't a great run if you're a Dave Foster fan, as you're going to have to settle for 2nd place. But you can't accuse Ronnie Weston of not making it thrilling each week. This week he waits till the final lap, makes his move on Foster, who ran a great race in the Mopar product. And Mike Richardson picks up the 3rd spot, and a good finish for Richardson as well. Tough break for Lamberton. He and I think it was Eric Williams got together going down the backstretch. Lamberton was not able to get it fired right off. He went a lap down. It'll be a tough finish for Mark, and it's only going to extend the point lead for current point leader Ron Weston.
Oh, my wiki say about these 3. Weston has been the dominator, a la Junior Hanley from the American-Canadian Tour. Dave Foster should have won, having to settle for 2nd. And we already told you how good Mike Richardson is. So these 3 deserve to be in the winner's circle. And Ron Weston gets a top spot once again. 7 wins for Weston out of 11.
Field starts to get on their way for the 100-lap main event for the late model Sportsman. Let's set the starting lineup. Row number 1 on the inside, the 17, looking for a triple crown tonight. That's Lonnie Lackalade. On the outside in the 42, Tony Poisson. Row number 2 on the inside, the 33 of Matt Sear, and the 83 of Plattsburgh's Tim Patinka.
Driving back another row on the inside, the 08 of Miski Minton. Scratch that, make that the 75 of Pete Facto, and the 52 of Barry Schwartz. 1 more row back, the 57 of Jim Barn, and along his side to the right, the 66 of Plattsburgh's Joe Thomas.
Lance Furno in car number 31, and we drop back to the 49 of Mark Lanfear and the 92 of Chris Durkee.
Right after that, the 86 of Dennis Demers is in line with the 45 of Brian Horn, the 63 of Buck O'Brien.
Steve, I don't know what lineup you're looking at. But we're going to continue on here. The 46 of Doug Hoare follows Dennis Demers. And on the outside, it's the 9 of Danny Bridges. We're still waiting for Steve to get his glasses. Jim Silly in the 68, Red Mead in the 1. The 0 is Brent Dragon, the 76, Steve Renadet. Jean-Paul Cyr in the 32 car, the 20 of Tony Andrews. Then we come back to the 45 of Brian Horn on the outside, the 40 of Dwayne Lanfear. The 77 tonight driven by Dave Whitcomb. And on the outside, the 00 of Steve Miller. The 19 of David Gay, the 34 of Dennis Alderman. The 6 of Bill Barcombe, the 64 of Buck O'Brien, the 13 of Richard Bootsy, and the 70 of that driver that only Steve Hayes knows.
George Egan. See, I've got my glasses clean now. I can tell who's where.
You heard our selections earlier on in the program. Steve and I both have selected Brian Horn to pick up the victory in this race. It's only a matter of probably an hour or so before we'll find out. One interesting factor, Steve, here is that yellow flag laps will count.
One guy who desperately wants to do well in course is Dave Whitcomb. Whitcomb driving Tom Tillett, number 77. The reason? Well, he's the points leader, taking a peek at the 64, Robin Branham. Second time Robin has tried to go on the track to start a race, and has been unable to do so. Obvious mechanical problems. Get back to Whitcomb in Tom Tiller 77. Whitcomb went end over end in his familiar blue and white 25 a couple of nights ago at T-Road. Got Tiller's mount. The reason? Well, with double points on the line, Dave Whitcomb is now the points leader here at Airborne by a mere 1 point over the 40 of Dwayne Lanfear. So Whitcomb could not afford to miss this race. Keep in mind, fans, this is only the first of 200 lappers for late models here at Airborne. The second will be held on September 5th. Better circle that date. You're going to see this is exciting when these guys get 100. Out of 4, Lackalade and Boissard get to the green. Lonnie Lackalade trying to complete a triple crown. Good luck, Lonnie. Meanwhile, up front, Boissard gets the early lead. Timpa Tinka finished third last week, going for the top spot early here this week. Lackalade back to third, followed by Matt Sear. Heavy-duty contact behind in the middle of the pack, but everybody straightens it out. A lot of bumping and banging going on as 32 automobiles take the green. Already a smoker on the track, the 70 of shotgun starter George Egan, making his first appearance of the season. He only lasts 2 laps. Take a look at some of the action. Red Mead loops it in the 1. Big sponsor needed sign on the side of that automobile, and he was in need of some help there as he almost got tagged by some fellow late model competitors. Caution on the speedway. Yellow laps count, by the way, fans. Yellow laps count. We have 3 in the books. That will continue to roll while we get these yellow flag situations straightened out. 10 laps in the record book, 10 down, 90 to go. Let's set the front row on the inside, the 42 of Tony Poisson. On the high groove, the 83 of Timmy Patinka. Row 2, pole sitter Lonnie Lackalade has the inside preferred groove, and over his right shoulder, the 75 of Pete Fecto. Row 3 to the inside, the 66 of Joe Thomas. Keep your eye on the 66 tonight. Thomas is having a pretty good night. And his outside, the 31 of Lance Furno. Red Mead, who is a few laps down because of the spin. Matt Sear, Miski Mitten, and Barry Schwartz are the 10 as they line up. But keep in mind, the 1 is at least 2, perhaps 3 laps down. Engines rev up a bit as they come out of 4. Green flag is unfurled, and Patinka gets the lead. Remember, caution flag or caution laps count tonight. Tim Patinka gets about a 3 or 4 car length lead over his competition. Red Mead in trouble again. Sparks out of the back end of the 1 machine. Red Mead has slid it safely off of the speedway. Unbelievable unbelievably bad night for the driver, the number 1 from Hyde Park, Red Mead. Chris Durkee has been in the pit since the initial caution came out, just leaving now, so he's at least 8 laps down. Dennis DeVere's lost a couple laps in the pits. Rodney DeVere stands up there. Looking at action a bit farther back here. Some great drivers indeed. Keep your eye on the 0 of Brent Dragon. Well, now the caution comes out. Apparently, Red Mead is a bit closer to the track than I initially thought. Red Mead will bring out the second caution flag. They're going to have to line him up again with Tim Patinka this time, the race leader. Tony Poisson will be outside. Row 1 when we return. 17 laps already in the record books with 83 remaining. Your top 5, Tim Patinka with Tony Poisson in the top row. Pete Facto and Joe Thomas make up row 2, and the 17 of Lonnie Lackley. The pole sitter sits 5th, and outside him will be the 31 of Lance Furno. Those are your top 6 cars, all on the lead lap. They're bunching up real nice in turns 3 and 4. This could be a doozy of a start. Nice and tight at the stripe. Patinka gets a jump on Poisson. Facto follows leader Patinka through to take second from the 42 machine. They're stacking them up 3 wide going into 3. Buck O'Brien letting it all hang loose and bracks it down. It is Patinka, Facto, Poisson, Thomas, and Furno, that time across the stripe. Once again, taking a look at the 0 car of Brent Dragon, and outside 3 wide, Brian Hoare trying to make a move with a 45. Reports earlier, Rick and I both said Brian Hoare could be the man to beat. Side by side, door-model action with several top competitors. 20 laps into this race with 80 to go. Anybody's race still. I'll tell you another guy to move it, Doug Hoare with a 46. Doug Hoare lost a wheel earlier in his qualifier, but boy, seemingly no damages. He is really moving with a 46 machine. Trouble coming out of 4. Doug Hoare is involved with a 49 of Mark Lamphere. Hoare back on the track. Mark Lamphere detouring through the infield and loops it in turn 2. He's on the infield pit road. That will not bring out a caution. What an unfortunate break for Mark Lamphere, however. And as you can see, Doug Hoare, well, his night is going to come to a premature end. Sparks all over from the front end of that machine. Doug Hoare has broken something severely. Yellow flag on the track, trouble up in 2. But you see the leaders and the rest of the field coming out 4. They're in trouble in 2. We have 4 or 5 cars involved. It all started when the 0 of Brent Dragon got loose. Dragon may have lost an engine. Smoke coming from the back end of that machine. Jean-Paul Cyr, Robin Branham, a couple of other cars involved. No major damage except maybe to the Brent Dragon machines. It is smoking heavily.
28 laps completed in the 100-lap late model Sportsman main event. And if you were with us last week, you saw that billboard was in about 45 pieces. Thanks to Yvonne Bedard and Buzzy Bazanson. But Steve, nice to see Bill McBride smile back at the track.
Oh, getting ready to go back on the green flag condition. Tim Patinka and Pete Facto this time in the top row. Patinka desperately looking for that elusive first feature win, and he's been doing very well this season, so it may not be that much of an upset if he pulls it off here tonight. They come out of 4. Pete Facto with a jump. Pete Facto with the lead going into 1. Joe Thomas with a 66 hanging high. Thomas really strong tonight. This could be Joe Thomas's night when it's all said and done. Pete Facto will lead this lap over Patinka and Thomas. Buck O'Brien now asserting himself. He look back a little bit in the field. build it. But of course, these guys run the International Series, and all three local tracks have another International Series event scheduled. As a matter of fact, in just a couple of weeks on August 2nd, these late model sportsmen will venture up for an International Series race in Sonora. That will be in conjunction with the American Canadian Tour. Then these late model sportsmen guys will be right here at Airborne on August 8th to run an International Series race. And then at Thunder Road a few days later on August 13th. So International Series time, very heavy the first half week or half month of August. Taking a look at the double zero of Miller. Miller trying to win for the third week in a row. Stevens run very strong these last couple of weeks. 100 laps may suit him, but we'll have to wait another 67 laps to find out. Briefly mentioned the American Canadian Tour. In addition to that Sonora race on August 2nd, the Vermont Milk Bowl will be contested at Thunder, a very prestigious short track event for the ACT guys on September 6th. The day after, these late model guys run 100 laps here. 100 laps for the late model guys here on September 5th. The very next day, September 6th, ACT in action for the Milk Bowl in Thunder Road. And while I'm mentioning the ACT guys, they will be here for their finale for the 92 season. The Fall Foley's 300, the first weekend in October. You won't want to miss that action. Saturday qualifying, Sunday the big 300 lap race. Getting back to action with the late model sportsman. It is still Facto over Patinka and Joe Thomas. Bucko runs fourth, Lance Verno fifth. Caution on the speedway as pole setter Lonnie Lacklade, who wanted desperately to win to complete the Triple Crown, is going to fall a bit short. He is off of turn two, bringing out a caution. Getting set to go back to green flag action. 42 laps down, 58 to go. Make that Pete Facto and Tim Patinka in the front row. Joe Thomas, Bucko Brandon in row two. Lance Verno and Tony Poinson make up row three. They are on the race, and once again, Pete Facto asserts himself as the leader at the line. Patinka ducks inside to take second. Bucko Brandon letting it hang high. Joe Thomas goes low. Sandwich time for the 83. And Bucko Branham is the guy on the move. Bucko from fourth to second in one lap. Trouble up in four. Brian Horn is involved. That's what Dennis diverts on a couple of cars. Yellow flag already out. Brian Horn was on the move with a caution. I don't know if you can see, but there's some heavy-duty metal up on the track. So we're going to have to sweep the track a bit as another caution comes out with, this time 44 down and 55 to go. And tough break for Brian Horn. He wants to move it fast, but he's going to have some problems here. The pace car's about to pull into pits, and we are about to resume this 100-lap main event for late model sportsmen with 49 down. So we're going to have halfway here coming up. Pete Facto and Bucko Branham will be the two men setting them on their way in the front row. Side by side, Facto and Branham. Tim Patinka sitting right behind both those guys. Boy, Bucko Branham has really been strong tonight. Bucko, this could definitely be his night. Bucko now tucks behind the leader of the 75 of Pete Facto. Looks inside but decides against it. Bucko worked it over the 75, had it open but could not take advantage. Now Tim Patinka comes up to challenge Bucko's number 63. Meanwhile, Joe Thomas was stuck way high. He's losing all sorts of track position. And we have a caution on the track. Miskey Mitten and Doug Horn have come together big time halfway down the backstretch. Doug Horn and Miskey Mitten are just piled into each other, and it's going to bring out another caution. It'll be 53 laps completed this time by. It will be Pete Facto, Tim Patinka, Tony Andrews, Bucko Branham, and Lance Verno as far as the scoreboard goes, but that's not the way they're lined up at the track. We'll have to wait and sort this out when we restart.
Safety crew work is done. We are back on
55 laps down, 45 to go. Getting ready to go back to your green flag edition. Do have a driver change, a slight problem with the score for Dan Bridges, number 9. Nothing too serious, hopefully. But anyway, we have a driver change. As Dan Bridges is not in the number 9. Brent Dragon, normal driver, the number 0, has taken the wheel of that machine. That car sitting outside row number 3. And while I'm at it, let's give you the 5 starting in front of them. It will be Pete Facto, Bucko Branham in the top row, Tim Patinka, and Tony the Tiger Andrews in row 2. Lance Vernon on the inside of row 3, and Brent Dragon driving the Dan Bridges number 9 outside row 3. Remember, double points on the line this mid-season championship for the LMS competitors. I mentioned earlier that Dave Wickham driving Tiller's car had a 1-point lead on Dwayne Lamphere. Well, the top 3 were Wickham, Dwayne Lamphere, and Brian Hoare. Those 3 guys are not exactly doing too well. The guy who could make some ground is the guy who sits 7th and has won the last 2, Steve Miller. He is 7th right now, and he is one of the quickest cars out there. Miller could really make up some ground with double points on the line. Here we go, Pete Facto, Bucko Branham, door paddle to door paddle, and green flag already out. You're wondering, Brent Dragon and Danny Bridges, 2 of the tallest competitors on race here at Airborne, both about 6'4", 6'5" or so, so should not be too uncomfortable a fit for Brent in the Dan Bridges machine. Coming out of 4, Facto and Branham, 1-2. Tony the Tiger Andrews on the high group. Tim Patinka back to 4th. Lance Verno, Brent Dragon, and Steve Miller. Tony Andrews, he's won here, and not lately, though, as he's not been the most regular competitors at Airborne, but boy, he is really hooked up. Tony Andrews way wide. Branham looks low. Both going after leader Pete Facto in the 75. Miller has moved to 4th, and boy, is Miller coming up quick. Steve Miller, like he was shot out of a cannon, got 2 of them on that lap. Tony Andrews gets the lead. Bucko looks inside of Facto. Miller on the high side of the 75. Steve Miller gets Bucko, works on Facto. And everybody chasing the 20 machine of Tony Andrews. Keep on back a little bit. Car's running about 12th or so here. Some good action, and we're even back in the pack a bit. Side of Tony Andrews in the battle for the top spot. These guys are pulling about 10 car lengths away, and Facto in 3rd. Tony Andrews looks low. Steve Miller stuck on the high groove. Door paddle, a little tap, no damage done. Brent Dragon's riding Danny Bridges 9, maybe short-lived. He was just giving the black flag smoke coming out of the 9 machine, and Brent already pitting it. Meanwhile, back up front. Miller, bumper, tagging the 20 of Andrews. Gets to the inside. Tony Andrews shuts the door on Miller. Miller trying to make it 3 in a row. Tony Andrews trying to show why he is a top-notch competitor. In a couple of laps, these leaders will be catching the 76 of Reddit at the point of a lap down. Reddit off the pace after an earlier incident. Reddit goes the lap down to Andrews and Miller. Meanwhile, the battle for 30 up between Facto and Bucko Branham. Behind those 2 is Patinka and Verno, but clearly everybody has their eyes on the lead 2. Miller gonna try to split move with Min. Min moves to the inside. Miller had the inside of the middle, but Andrews shut the door from the high groove. Miller had ideas about splitting them, but decided against it. Markham and Bootsy now a lap down to the 2 leaders. 67 laps down, only 33 remain. Miller inside of Andrews, a nice bite off of turn 2. The Miller fans are right in front of me in the stands, and they are going crazy. Steve Miller took him 67 laps, but he is now your leader. Tony Andrews has been pushed back to second. Defecto still runs third. And barring a caution, this is going to be Miller's and Andrews to the end, I would think. About 3 through 9 here. One guy on the move going 3 wides is 68 and Brock Vermont's Jim Silly. It's taken Silly a while, but he's finally starting to move up a little bit. There is almost a half a track between Steve Miller, Tony Andrews, and then all the way back to the third place competitors of Fecto and, well, Bucko Challenge. Actually, Steve Miller put about a dozen carlings between him and second place man, Tony Andrews. Battle for third, Fecto leading Branham. Meanwhile, Patinka and Silly on a little battle of their own, going for the 4th spot. Correction, make that the 5th spot. Bucko gets the inside of Fecto. Bucko Branham about ready to take over the 3rd spot. Patinka and Silly trying to also get by the 75 machine. Fecto fights back though, and he has 3rd at the stripe. Branham had 3rd and lost it at the stripe to Fecto. Now Jim Silly is making a move. If a caution would come out, Jim Silly may be able to do something with the leaders, but not without a caution, fans. May hold 3rd, but for how long? And Jim Silly is on the outside. It looks like he has a little bit more horsepower. Bucko Branham is back to 5th, followed by Patinka, Thomas, Martin, Berto, and Dwayne Lamphere. Excellent action for the 3rd spot. Once again, Silly on the high side. Fecto now in the middle, and Bucko tries a sandwich maneuver on the inside. Bucko's going to try to make it stick. 75 and 63 of contact, but no major damage. And now Branham getting by Fecto. Meanwhile, Thomas is working the outside groove with the Patinka machine. One rule in effect for this race: inside pits. The pits right here on the speedway are being used. For cars to go to the regular pits, that would signify it is out of the race, at least for this race tonight. Tough break for Dave Wickham in Tom Tiller 77, your points leader. He has not had the best of nights in that 77 machine. He is now moving in the best of nights today. Meanwhile, looking a little farther back, Brian Hoare is a man on the move. 80 laps down, 20 to go. And right now, Steve Miller right here is about ready to lap, I'd say, the probably 11th and 12th place cars on the speedway. He is really burning up this track. Miller with a full backstretch lead over second place Tony Andrews himself, a little bit more than a backstretch over 3rd place Jim Silly. Without a caution, Miller's going to have to brake or get tangled up, I'm afraid. And right now, Miller in heavy-duty lap traffic disposes of Furno, goes after Schwartz, and next will be Tony Poisson. Whatever Steve Miller did a couple of weeks ago when he won that first one, it has been working ever since. He won 2 weeks ago. That was a Triple Crown night. He won last week. He is winning his 3rd in a row and 100 lap double point this season championship. To put put it simple, Steve Miller is picking him up, laying him down. Trouble in front of the leader. David Gay has been involved with Dwayne Lamphere. Miller saw it plenty of times. The caution comes out. But that is the necessary caution that Tony Andrews and Jim Silly needed. 85 laps in the books. It'll take a couple of laps to clean this up. The crew will have to take a look, see if he's laying on the track. 85 down, 15 to go. Miller, Andrews, Silly, Bucko, and Fecto. Ready to go back on the green flag, but with 89 laps this time by, with 11 to go, we have had a major change. Take a look at the pits. Yes, fans, that is the 00 of former race leader Steve Miller. Miller did not pit on his own. Miller was given the black flag for a muffler that was hanging off the car. Now, I never even saw it. I'm sure it was hanging off there, but you talk about an unfortunate turn of events. Steve Miller en route to an obvious victory, apparently. And even with that caution, Tony Andrews may have been the only guy to challenge him. Not going to have a chance with 11 laps to go, and it'll be 10. He's going to have to start at the back of the pack. Unfortunate break for Mr. Miller tonight. What we can do is tell you who the top 5 will be. It will be Tony Andrews, your new leader. Jim Silly second, Bucko Branham third, Pete Fecto fourth. Now, I believe Steve Miller will be fifth only because most of this field is lapped. I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and find out, but I have a strange feeling he will still be the top 5, but basically, he's not going to have a prayer to win this unless there's some major attrition up front. Now they're doubling up. They'll be going green flag next time. Take a look at the front row. The 52 of Barry Schwartz, a lapped automobile. That is the 20 of Tony the Tiger himself. Tony Andrews, your race leader. Second row, also lapped, as is the third row. That's Durkee, Mitten, Gay, and Massier. You go all the way back to the east side of row 4, the 68 of Jim Silly, till you find your official second place car. Right behind him, the 63 of Bucko Branham is your third place car. Pete Fecto pulls to the outside of Branham. He's your fourth place car, and, well, correction, Joe Thomas is your fifth place car. I guess I overlooked Mr. Thomas. Shouldn't do that because Joe's had a great night. Green flag out, and Steve Miller has a vengeance, but he only had 9 laps. But you know, there are some drivers that when you do something like this to take an apparent win away, they drive even harder, and Steve Miller doing just that. Trouble up at 3, heavy-duty contact. Dennis Alderman, Dave Wickham, Jim Barton, Lance Burnham, Miskey Minton. Miller avoided it. Oh my, some heavy-duty contact. Smoke from the 34 machine, yellow out. It will be 93 laps the next time by, and the laps are just dwindling down as we said, the cautions count. Getting set to go back to green flag action. 95 laps in the book. The last 5 laps must be run under green. So no matter what happens as far as caution, none will count. The last 5 must be under green. Kind of forgot to mention that, but that is the case. Meanwhile, up front, Tony Andrews sits on the pole. He is your race leader. The second place car is starting outside row 2 in the form of the 68 of Jim Silly. Silly gets behind race leader Andrews. That is what he had to do. The 20 is your leader. The 68 is indeed second. The 19 of David Gay at least 1 lap down as Gay fights for positions to gain a lap. Bucko runs third. Scratch that. Patinka runs third. Bucko runs fourth, although they're dicing back and forth, side by side. Pete Fecto is fifth. Ryan Horn's worked his way up to 6th, and Steve Miller is back in the battle. 2 to go this time by. Andrews and Silly battling for the top spot with 2 to go. 1 mile lap. Jim Silly goes to the high groove with a 20. Tony Andrews, the younger of the 2 racing Andrews. His father, Norm, not in competition here tonight. Last time around, a complete lap 100. It will be a half-mile shootout. Tony Andrews on the preferred low groove. Jim Silly with 1 last set of turns to try to make it work. They come out of 4. Silly goes high, and Tony Andrews will pick up the win. Andrews followed by Silly. Bucko Branham will be third. Steve Miller all the way back up to finish 4th. The 75 of Pete Fecto may have been 5th, or he may have been nipped by the 45 of Brian Orr. I'm not sure. Scoreboard tells me that Pete Fector was 5th, so I guess Brian was back one. But either way, your winner, the number 20 of Tony, the Tiger Andrews. Andrews, not the most regular competitor here at Airborne, but he didn't have to be, as it turns out, as he walks away with the first 100-lap event for the late models here this year. Remember, these late models back in action for a 100-lap event on September 5th, right here at Airborne.
Well, Steve, you see Steve Miller stopping in Victory Lane, giving his congratulations to Tony Andrews, who picked up the win. I'm sure most of the Steve Miller fans are awful disappointed with the fact that their driver had to go to the pits, but probably a good decision. The exhaust was hanging out quite a bit on the right-hand side, and rather than risk that falling off and causing a major pileup, probably the best thing to do was send him to the pits, get it fixed, and the guys that benefit the most, the 3 guys in Victory Lane, Tony Andrews in the 20, Jim Silly in the 68, and Bucko Branham in the 63.
And let's keep in mind, it is that same Steve Miller who went in the pits with about 10 to go, who came all the way back storming through the field to finish 4th, so he still had a pretty good finish.
We've got one event left on tonight's program, and that's the Napa Legends Street Stock feature. Don't go away, the street stocks are always fun, and it's coming up next.
Getting set for the Napa Legends Street Stock main event. 20 laps tonight, normally 15. They upped them a bit and going 20. Starting on the pole, the 55 of Bob Bailey. He joined alongside the front row by the 69 of Ed Drake. Row 2, the 72 of Robert Haynes, and the 63 of Quebecer Donald Moran. Paul Schnabel and Chris Ida make up row 3. Toby Ebersol, Rob Clark Jr. in row 4. Rounding out the top 10, the 17 of Joe Rotella, and the 6 of Tyson Drown. 18, yeah, you heard me right, fans. 18 street stocks set to take the green. The largest field so far this year for this division. Green flag out, Ed Drake with the early lead. Drake gets the early lead. Bailey back to second. Haynes and Moran side by side in the battle for third. Now Bailey ducks under leader Drake, but Drake shuts the door. Paul Schnabel, that number 95, was strong in his qualifier. He sets 5th, trying to move up. Haynes and Bailey come together. They get him straightened out. 3 wide down the front stretch, and hang out, fans, as Ebersol leans a little bit on the Schnabel 95. 3 or 4 new cars here, and that is excellent to see that. Oh my, fans, a major pack of street stocks, but they all come out heading the right way. 3, 4 wide in one spot. Everybody chasing the 69 machine of Ed Drake. Don Moran, his nearest competitor, runs second. And after that, forget it, fans, they are all bunched up. 17 of Joe Rotella, after a bad week last week, trying to make amends. He's working his way in the back end. Trouble, big time trouble. Robert Hayes gets T-boned by Rob Clark Jr. Tyson Drown is spun by Greg Pay, a yellow flag on the track. We have 7 or 8 automobiles that were involved, and it's going to take a couple of laps to straighten this one out. When we do get it straightened out, Ed Drake will be leading them all. Getting ready to go back on the green flag for the Napa Legends Street Stocks. Ed Drake, Don Moran in the front row. Bob Bailey and Joe Rotella, row 2. Chris Ida, Toby Ebersol make up row 3. Tyson Drown and the Banana Bars 91 of Greg Pay in row 4. Dan Benoit and Mike Bosher, last week's feature winner in row 5. They're followed by Ken Williams, Mac Eddy, Charles McNulty, Rob Clark Jr., Robert Haynes, and points leader Dave Rotella, who just made it back after going in the pits for a flat tire. Drake and Moran set him on their way. Drake drifting way up on the 63. Third place car, the 17 of Joe Rotella, unable to make a move as he was a little bit too far back. And boy, is Chris Ida charging through with a 23 machine. The 69er of Ed Drake leads them. Joe Rotella to the inside of Don Moran for position number 2. Toby Ebersol and Greg Pay way up. Well, wait a minute, we got all kinds of action. In a matter, well, we got problems. And Drake right in front of Bailey. He misses them. And in a matter of a set of turns, we had all sorts of position change up top. It is now Rotella, Joe Rotella that is, Toby Ebersol, Greg Paye, 1, 2, 3. Now for 4 3, Chris Hyde and Don Moran. Joe Rotella leads them. The 91 of Greg Paye all over the back bumper, the 82 of Toby Ebersol who runs second. Meanwhile, then we have Ida, Moran, Boucher, Benoit, and then Tyson Drown with a 6. Super action all over the speedway with these street stocks. Battle for 4th, the 23 is Chris Ida, the 49 is Mike Boucher. Battle for 2nd, the 82 with Toby Ebersol, the 91 is Greg Paye. Remember, Paye was the points leader until last week when Dave Rotella got by him by a mere point. Rotella started this restart way in the back and has not made up hardly any ground, so good chance for Paye to get the top spot back. Bit of irony, the only man between Greg Paye and the lead is point leader Dave Rotella's brother Joe, as Joe Rotella pilots the 17 on the low groove. That sends the banana barge high, and the banana barge taps the power out of 4. Greg Paye gets the lead over Joe Rotella, but Rotella fighting back. A little fluid on the track, and Paye found it the hard way. Meanwhile, the battle for 3rd, there's that 49 machine of Mike Boucher as he moves up on the 82 of Toby Ebersol. Super action up front. This time by 8 laps in the books, it's Greg Paye clearly the leader now. Joe Rotella back to 2nd, but for how long as Mike Boucher tries a high groove on him. Greg Paye, been a few weeks since he found his way in the winner's circle. Looks like he's in line to maybe pick one up tonight, but we're not even halfway yet, fans. Remember, normally 15 the distance, tonight they go 20. This upcoming Saturday is a regular show for the stocks, Tigers, and late models. Halfway this time by, and at the stripe, Greg Paye with about 10 car lengths over Boucher and Joe Rotella. Meanwhile, right behind them, the 82 of Ebersol, the 23 of Ida, having a nice battle for 5th and 6th. And let's not forget the purple 74 of Dan Benoit. Benoit won 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it looks like he's trying to find a way back up. And is it my imagination, fans, or the guys chasing Greg Paye caught him? Yeah, they have. Take a look in 2. Paye has lost the lead, and Mike Boucher is going to go for 2 in a row. Joe Rotella inside. Greg Paye, either flat tires, mechanical problems, because Paye is, well, out of it basically right now. Mike Boucher surprised a lot of people with his win last week. Obviously looking to show it was no fluke as he tries to go back to back. And Toby Ebersol taking a detour. Ebersol with the 82 is running right up there in 3rd and 4th, but backed off. Well, I know the problem with the Banana Bars fans. He is spinning and sputtering, smoking, and basically getting ready to stop. Engine problems on the 91 tonight. Boy, oh boy, Greg Paye has not had a good month, I'll tell you. He hasn't found a way to win, and he hasn't even found a way to finish tonight. Greg Paye gonna bring out the caution. They're gonna have to check the track for some fluid. So it's gonna be Mike Boucher, Joe Rotella, Dan Benoit, Chris Ida, and Don Moran when we get back to action. 13 in the books, 7 to go. Mike Boucher and Joe Rotella in the top row. Remember, starting tonight, Dave Rotella had a 1-point lead over the 91. Dave Rotella's running about 9th. The 91's out of it. The guy who was 3rd was the 17 of Joe Rotella, 50 points behind his brother. So it looks like Joe Rotella's the man who stands to make up some ground. Mike Boucher really got a nice lead on the restart. Joe Rotella gonna have to fight hard to keep 2nd, and Dan Benoit slips the 74 under him, but Joe nicely shuts the door. Man, oh man, this 49 is just once again running away, and Mike Boucher really has that car for the 2nd week in a row hooked up. Battle for the 2nd place again, Dan Benoit. Wow, he's definitely under the 17 this time. By the time they hit the third turn, he's clearly in front of Joe. So Joe back to third. Chris Ida runs fourth. Don Moran rounds out the top 5. Well, normally that would have been the checker flag. That was lap 15. But they're going 20 tonight, so it'll be interesting to see if anything happens these last 5 laps. One thing that could happen is a change for third. Joe Rotella now battling the 23 of Chris Ida in that position. Last week, Joe Rotella did not have the strongest of cars. Right now, he's trying to hang on to third. Meanwhile, keep your eyes up front. Mike Boucher is your leader, but that damn Benoit 74 definitely catching him. I mentioned Benoit won 2-3 weeks ago. He might be trying to duplicate that feat here tonight. Boucher leaves the door open a little bit. Benoit can't capitalize that time by. Meanwhile, as you look at the action up front, Chris Ida has passed the 17 of Joe Rotella for third. They come out of 4 with 2 to go. This time, Benoit has the preferred line. Mike Boucher left the door open, and Dan Benoit said, "Thank you very much, I think I'll take the lead." Well, trouble on the 17 car again. Joe Rotella is pitting the automobile. That's why he was driving back. Mechanical problems plaguing that car again. Tyson Drams number 6 becomes the lapped automobile with 1 to go. Though Dan Benoit leads it, Mike Boucher may not be out of this. He is hanging top of the outside groove. Half a lap for Dan Benoit. Remember, the Stocks, Tigers, and Late Models all in action this Saturday on a regular show. They come out of 4, and Dan Benoit will pick up another feature win in the Appalachian Street Stocks. Mike Boucher second. Chris Ida way back for third. Toby Ebersol fourth. Don Moran will be fifth. And points leader Dave Rotella will end up 6th tonight. Well, it appeared to have been the 49's race to win. Mike Boucher had the lead, was really pulling away. And all of a sudden, that 74 showed up, and Dan Benoit will pick up another feature win. Dan Benoit, your winner. Mike Boucher second. Chris Ida in the show position.